So great to have you all back with us. Continuing our conversation with Prafulla, Naveen, and Vivek, now we'll focus on the right product market fit code. So how we can deal with the Indian and global market because the market is different and how the future of SaaS looks like. Now, SaaS has huge market both India and globally. But what is more important now is getting your product ready as per the market requirement. And when we talk about market can be domestic and can be global. So it's always a question in the mind of SaaS founders how they should build their product. Should they focus only on the global market only, or they should build equally competitive product that can tackle both the markets? So Naveen, we'd like to understand from you how can a SaaS company create a product that can be used both in India and the global? Though Indian SaaS companies still generate majority of their revenue from the global market, but the size of Indian market is also growing and so, keeping that in mind, what should be the approach and the strategy of a SaaS company to build its product?
Sure, Ashish. I'll actually borrow a lot from what you mentioned already and what Vivek mentioned in the last episode. It's about product market fit, right? It's all about product market fit. And what we notice is, of course, we see a lot of platforms trying to make the transition from just being India to going global, or trying to bring something that works globally into India. In either way, what we see is, the core product can remain the same, but it has to substantially change the way it presents itself, because in the end, it is about product market fit. When you look at what is the value proposition to the end user or to the organization, the value proposition could be very different in different geographies, because business is not exactly the same. Even if you take a particular vertical, or let's say take a supply chain solution, for example, the way supply chain works in the US versus India might have huge differences, and that understanding those differences is very critical for actually taking the product to market, right? It's not if I look at it simply from a design perspective, it's not just about changing some graphical elements on screen from Indian imagery to US imagery when you're taking a product from here to the US. It's actually, you have to rethink the interface, because the interface is really about communicating the value of the platform to the end users. So when we talk about what is the value, the way people perceive value will be very different in India to elsewhere, and the value proposition also. Maybe in India it might be more about cutting costs, but in the US maybe it might be more about generating additional revenue, or vice versa, right? So the moment the geography changes, the value proposition has to change, the product market fit has to change. So you have to kind of rethink the product. The core product, the core engine might likely need to stay the same, or it might need to have some technical changes, but definitely the interface, the how the product is presented to the users, we see that definitely has to change. And then moreover, who do you talk to? Who is the value proposition for? Who are the functional roles that you're addressing? Those might have significant changes. And the moment those have changes, the way you go to market, your sales approach, your marketing pitch, your collateral, all of that has to change. Right? So while you can build for a global market, you have to look at the differences between the geos. And I don't mean to say it's just India versus West. It's possible that US and Europe will have very different use cases and problem statements between them. So it's possible to build a core product globally, but you have to customize it, you have to personalize it for different geographies, because in the end, the value proposition is what matters, and when you have to really be able to communicate that, and that tends to be different in different geographies.
So absolutely, Naveen. I think that's the important point. Again, you mentioned that your product can be same, but rethinking the interface so that the value can be perceived differently. That is very important, and because you have to understand your market, their needs effectively, so that same product can be applied, but with a small bit of customization, you can sell the same product to different geographies. Great point. Absolutely. So Vivek, is it true that Indian SaaS products must cater? So this is a different, almost same question put differently. So Indian SaaS products must cater to different needs than global needs, or So the modification necessary. So Indian requirements are different. Can we say that? And we should
I
modify
think,
that.
as you yourself mentioned, I think Naveen has already answered large part of that question because, yeah, so it doesn't have to be, right? There is enough market in India for any product, right? And different kind of products. But that doesn't mean that Indian companies can't go global and they can't sell, right? As Naveen saying, the core can be same, and but how you present yourself has to be different. But we have seen enough Indian SaaS companies where Zoho, whether it is Freshworks, whether it is Zenoti, right? All of them have global presence now, and I'm sure they have done their customization, the whatever is required to cater. So the I don't think we should say that any SaaS product can only cater to any particular one geography, but at the same time, the focus definitely helps, right? So when you have that focus for a certain industry, certain geography, then you can create more personalization. You can, if let us say, if I have to talk about Quixy, I can maybe see based on how the users are using the platform, what kind of use cases are being done in that geography or something, or a certain industry is adopting better. I can make a lot of templates for that industry, right? For that matter. So, but yeah, you have to keep in mind, even if you're doing global, that there will be customization that will be required. This might be related to your language preferences. Maybe if you do a lot of payment related use cases, then your payment gateways, right? Your cultural nuances you have to account for, that you cannot just, and maybe that is where presentation becomes very important, right? Your now, if you again taking example of Quixy, you can be building a healthcare related solution on our platform, or you maybe building something for the food industry. So when you start talking about this, they have different regulations on these. So you have to make sure that as a platform, whatever I can do, I have to make sure that those compliances are there. From a user, I have to make sure that if he's building a food related or a defense related solution on my platform, he has to comply for whatever standards or regulations apply. So those kind of things you have to remember when you go for global products. So but I would say that there is no assumption that you have to go global, and there should not be any assumption that any product, any SaaS product, Indian SaaS product cannot go global. We have enough success stories out there to say that both are possible.
Okay, so I think the customization is the main keyword which you can take it from here. So customize and sell it wherever you want.
Absolutely.
So, so
But at
Praful,
the
what do
same
you
time, I
believe?
think when you
Yeah.
go global, apart from the product, you one thing that we have learned is, right. So inbound, see, when you have a product that is relying on product led growth, and where most of your traffic is coming inbound, right? Then if you stop your global traffic, right? Why will you not let your users from South America, Australia, South Africa come to your platform, do sign up, have a wow experience, and become your paying customers? But it is just that when you want the big ticket accounts, when you want to do enterprise sales, that is when you actually outbound comes into picture. Actually, that also a lot of it is shifting to inbound. But yeah, that is where potentially you will be doing outbound. So that is where I think when you are doing outbound, it is very important that you have local people who understand local enterprises, their pain points. So that is where product is fine, you have the Freshworks is there, but having their on local presence of your Salesforce, having that local presence becomes very important.
Absolutely. Thanks, Vivek. So, Praful, what do you believe? More strategic question for you. So, what do you believe the best way for a company to take? Start with the worldwide market first, and then focus on the Indian market once the success is achieved. So, or vice versa approach. So, what is the best way?
It's a tricky question. So first, focus on what product you're looking at, nature of business, and then target its market. Where is the market? So let's say if I'm trying to do a WhatsApp or I'm trying to create a LinkedIn, it's a global market. But if I'm trying to create a regulatory app which can do my regulatory capital maintenance for a banking and a finance department, so RBI will have different regulations. If I go to US, Basel 2 or Basel 1 will have different regulations. So the total harmony is totally different. So first try to see what is your target market, and then you start building whether you should I go local or should I go global. If I take a Ola or Uber and I want to start it maybe in my some village places, it will not work. So where do you start? What do you target? What is your target market? First focus on that. And as Naveen or Vivek, I think, don't be obsessed by your concept that I want a product like this and it will work. First check it out that whether it will work in the market or not. And first you should target what is your market, and then what are the resources that you'll require to build this product. Will that be available in that geography? Is it local or is it global? Nowadays that doesn't really hamper, particularly coming in the software industry. So I would say resources would not be a big deal, but yes, you need to evaluate that. And again, also look at the compliances. Some things which are very easy in India might not be that easy in US. So those compliance barriers will also cause a lot of problems. So all these evaluations are very important before you pitch in and try and say that I want to go local or global first.
If I
Okay, so
can,
I think
I can just add one word to that. So like even for Quixy, when we started in India, when we started to talk and make pitches, like everybody was like, we had to educate them what is low code, no code. But the same pitch when you were making to in US, they were like, okay, share the case studies. So
Yeah.
so it is much your sales cycle become much less right there. So and when you are starting, you want your first 5 case studies, right? Okay, have you done something? So to build that, it was easier for us to start there. But now we have so much awareness in India that is built, and most of our business is right now in India. But to get that initial few customers, it was important that to go where people are able to appreciate, and there's not too much of education involved.
Yeah, and another example is personal information. So PII is a big use case in Europe. They are very, very conscious to share their personal information. Then health information. So HIPAA kind of standards are very popular in West and Europe as well. So, but these are not very strict here. So people here will be very easily ready to tell what kind of diseases they had or what kind of previous operations they had. They are very, very generic about it. So that also causes a big change in what you're trying to do and what kind of product that you're trying to build and in which area you should focus. So if I want to get some health information in US or Europe market, it's tough. I can't get it without paying. But if I want to get it in India, still there are resources which I can get it very freely.
So the crux is, I think, just don't rush to the market. First, understand your target market, understand the nature of the business, understand regulation, resources required. So don't get obsessed by your product. Just focus on the market also. Great insights, Prafulla. So we have seen that SaaS is evolving with demand coming from both India and abroad. And when such high demand exists, then innovation is very much expected so that you can further scale and penetrate your market further. So in this fast evolving SaaS ecosystem, what trends, Naveen, you see, especially in the design arenas that we anticipate in the future and that can actually help further scale this whole ecosystem? So what trends we are expecting and how it will help scaling this ecosystem?
Great question, Ashish. So firstly, right, we've seen the mindset of the founders itself change over time, right? A few years ago or several years ago, design, especially for technical platforms and products, when people thought about design, it was primarily about aesthetics, look and, just the looks and, the artwork and all of that, right? But that has significantly changed. I mean, now most founders understand, design is all about communicating the value of their product through the interface to the end users, right? The design is about users experiencing what the product has to offer, right? And so they understand that only when that communication is successful, the product is going to be successful, because otherwise the users won't understand what the product is all about, right? So that is one of the very positive things that I've seen happen over the last few years. That's a great positive thing for the entire ecosystem. But having said that, right, when we talk about how design is evolving, how product interfaces are evolving, obviously one thing that's on everybody's mind is obviously AI, right? With especially now with ChatGPT and all of that, everybody's experiencing what is possible. So more and more, I think that AI is going to become integral in the platforms, right? So earlier, when we talk about dashboards, it was all about presenting data, right? I think that is going to very quickly evolve to how you're going to go from presenting data to, like visualizations, but, analytics, but then it will go to insights, and eventually it will go to action recommendations. right? The same decision making of somebody looking at a chart and saying, oh, this is down, so we should do this, will probably be recommended. And when maybe, in the next couple of years, people won't necessarily be comfortable with the platform automatically taking that decision. So at least it will go to a point where the decisions are being recommended, and so there's just still recommendations. But eventually I think they'll go to that where the actions are just going to be validated by humans, right? And that's the distant future anyway. That's the near future anyway. The other way that we're seeing interfaces change is they're becoming multimodal. Right? Already, voice interactions are playing a major role. Right? So we're seeing not whether for data input as well as for output. We will start to see, especially in mobile environments, we'll start to see more and more voice integration. But it's not going to stop with just the voice, though. The moment I don't think that we still have a killer app and a killer use case for AR, VR, MR. Once that becomes mainstream, right, we will obviously see that whole, the way that interactions will change in the user interfaces will kind of completely embed that, will come with that. Real-time collaboration is another trend that I think it's it's not just collaboration but real-time collaboration, right? What we see with Google Docs, with Notion, all of these things, it'll come to be expected and more for taken for granted, right? It's no longer think about workflows, think about document controls, all of that. People will just take it for granted that I will be able to do it in real time with another person, right? So people co-developing, people co-piloting the same things. The other one that I lend it with, one of the things that we're seeing is the personalization, customization, and even adaptation, right? This is more about when you are providing a platform and a product to a bunch of different functional roles in the organization, does everybody feel that, hey, this product is built just for me, right? So we are getting to that point where, unless people see that, hey, this is actually built for me, they're kind of resisting the platform, right? Because that is typical what we see in B2B, because they think that, hey, this is built for the HR people, why should I use it? And so there's some resistance. So the ways to adapt for it is personalization and customization for the different functional roles. But it is going to give way to adaptation or adaptability in the sense that the platform itself will kind of learn the usage patterns of your usage patterns and automatically adapt the interface to that. So we're going to start to see some of that, especially with, again, AI and rule engines coming in. That will become very common, I believe. So over to you, Ashish.
Interesting point, Naveen. So recommendation design, obviously,
yeah, there's a lot of trend towards making the applications more responsive. So it should work on tablet, it should work on your laptop, desktop, bigger screens, everything. So that is also an increasing demand, and it's at times it becomes difficult to cater when you have it to do it with different platforms. But that's a pressing need for any product right now.
Yeah, that is almost these days. It's what do you say? It's a minimum ticket fee. Like responsiveness is basic. Mobile apps are going to be basic, right? So those are all assumed these days. So those are a must already.
Yeah, absolutely, Naveen. So voice integration, real-time collaboration, decision recommendations. So all these things definitely going to be the future. But one important point you touched upon is AI intervention, and that is what my next question is for Vivek. So what role does deep tech play in the SaaS ecosystem? The way the deep tech is penetrating, we are talking about AI and all every second, every minute now. So how does the deep tech SaaS looks like in the near future?
Yeah, I would not just deep tech SaaS, I'm saying even our SaaS, any SaaS, right? the AI, the deep tech is evolving at such a fast pace that we are struggling. Everybody's struggling to figure out how to leverage these technologies, right? And we have to do it before the competitor, because otherwise they'll have better features. And it's not about like using it for the sake of using it. It is making life simple. And I'll tell you with an example of, again, using Quixy, that uh, when we started, right, we know traditional development, we already discussed, you have to code. When no code, low code came into picture, you are able to do things with drag and drop, right? Our next step was, let's use AI and some translations, where if you have a physical form in your office already, you have a PDF form that are being used, take a snap, put it in our platform, let it read what all content is there, what are the labels, what are the fields, use some intelligence and put some validations also on top of it. And we called it snap to app feature in our platform, where now any back office form, front office forms, you can just take a picture, you will get a ready-made form, right? And some validations also, it's a date field, okay, we'll put a validation for a date field. If it is a name, we'll say, okay, it cannot take numbers. So we were able to do that. Now with generative AI and everything, nobody wants to even do that, right? People are asking, can I just speak what I want, and will you give me a application? And there are like, go to landbot.ai, just an example, and say that give me a chatbot that does this, and they are generating a chatbot, the full workflow with questions for you, right? So that is the speed at which AI adoption is increasing. And we are, again, as I said, that it's not for the sake of doing it. Everybody wants to make their life simple, right? Whether it is us as developers or business users. And if there is tech and AI, if AI is making that life simple, then why not? So we have to keep up with these technologies, adopt them, and use them to make our platform simpler to use. And that is the way, if we will stay relevant. Otherwise, somebody will take over. A couple of more examples of this use of AI only. I'll tell about our platform. I've seen another platform using it, that they have a customer service tool where people are writing their complaints using screenshots and everything. See, this tool is analyzing all that write up and giving a very brief summary of to a customer success representative, that this is what your customer is trying to say. He's giving three sentiments for from the mail. It is categorizing the ticket into like what module it belongs to, so that it can be routed. And also it is translating, if and there if any language is translated to your local language, whatever you speak as a user or as a customer success representative, I can choose my language. It is translating, and on top of that, it is giving an automated response also draft, that this is how you can possibly respond to that, right? Now people are training this model for their platform, right? So problem is being reported, okay, you can draft an English reply, a very nice English reply using chat GPT also. But now if you can train these models on top of your lessons learned or your documentation, product documentation, then just imagine the power of this tool, that it is able to process almost your service request automatically without very little. All you have to just see is that whatever is going out or response going back, is it accurate or not, right? Another example I would take is like from our marketing team, because we generate a lot of content. We are a SaaS company, so we spend a lot of time trying to, because something so much is already being written. So how is our content better? So basically we pick a focus keyword which has, if we do an SEO analysis, it has a high search volume, low difficulty level, right? We pick that keyword, then we go to Google, we search what is being written, we go through all the content and figure out our bigger TOC, that it should cover everything plus something more, like we should give more value, right? So now all that, it's a manual process. But with chat GPT, now we are trying to integrate it into our platform. So basically on our platform, we build an app. Anybody can submit an idea for a blog. From there we come up with titles. So with that idea, now chat GPT is suggesting me these are the 5 very compelling titles you can come up. If I choose one title, now it will, with the another prompt, it will tell me this should be the outline of this blog, right? If content writer wants it, it will say that can I get an introduction for this blog, an ending for this blog. Obviously these are so this is making our life of a content writer or SEO specialist at least 50-60 times easier, right? And then on top of it, obviously you cannot just depend on chat GPT. You have to add your value, the human touch, your value from your domain. But that is how how it is impacting the productivity, efficiency of those process. So I would say that, yeah, like another example, if you have to take, you have leads coming in, you have like hundreds of leads coming in now, and you have all this data. So if you have an AI model that can can predict what is the likelihood of this lead converting based on which geography it is coming from, which industry it is coming from, which user role it is coming from, and based on our past history of converting on those, if it is rating each of the leads like, okay, this is 30%, 50%, now your priority is already there with you. Instead of you picking them in your order, the tool is helping you, the prediction is helping you that, okay, this is your top priority, go for it, right? So these are some of the examples, and like I think they'll like we can go on for to discuss this example. So yeah, if we have to stay relevant, I think we have to adopt these technologies because they are targeted towards making platform simpler, and the life simpler for our users. So the more we will leverage, the more power we will give to our end users, and more we will succeed, and they will succeed.
Yeah, rightly, Vivek. And I think we have a lot of tools already in the market. If we integrate them and train them properly, they can be a revolution in our own product itself. So I think integrating that these products is also very important, and that could be the we can have new product, future SaaS products through these tools. Prafulla, just ending you, what trends do you see in the SaaS in the near future from your perspective?
Okay, so I think it's exponentially growing. Gartner has already predicted that in 2023, public cloud adoption would go to around 600 billion. SaaS market is actually filling the niche gaps and innovating and meeting the end user needs. So that makes it more strengthening than normal just applications. Other than that, there'll be increased focus towards verticals. Then people will, as Vivek also mentioned, AI ML would become a very important aspect. So we are strongly into the healthcare department. We have seen very strong use cases. So one of the use cases that we had seen is we did what you can say, a person's state recognition using his voice. So is he having a cough kind of symptoms, or is he having a nervous breakdown, or is he having a high blood pressure? Those kind of analysis we did based on AI, and that's becoming a product. And then AI ML based, we did another one which was for urine analysis. Then based on all your reports that you're getting in the medical stuff, there are symptoms, and based on symptoms there are predictions. So these predictions are usually becoming now very popular, and it's kind of giving a recommendation, a kind of doctor's recommendation that comes in, and it's making the industry very prominent. So it's intimidating for some of the doctors also. So that kind of penetration of AI ML is happening very deep, and it will continue to go deep. At the same side, the flip side of that is people won't want to expose their data to any other customer. So if I'm a retail marketer, I don't want to give my sales data or my marketing data to any other vendor. So it has to be anonymized and used in a very professional way. So that security is causing a big impact. So people who don't want to go to cloud or SaaS based product are very conscious about their data. So if we give confidence to the customers that their data will not be shared, whatever we use will be given with the paid value and unnamed, it will not be named with your elements. So that will give a lot of confidence to people to get into the SaaS market. Also, as I said, like custom implementation. So let's say I just have an API to get products and I have a standard implementation for it. Now one customer says that I want some extra information with this, or he says that I want to cut off this information. So how easily you are able to customize it. So that would become a very important aspect, because people always want customization. You cannot give one solution and that could be adopted by all the customers. So these are the main challenges, and I see these are the main areas where SaaS is going to penetrate also.
Thanks, Prafulla. It looks like a lot. We can see a lot more complex things in SaaS in the future of the SaaS. But an interesting discussion. With that, it is a wrap on this episode of Indian SaaS, transformative, adaptive, innovative, and future focused. Thanks a lot, Prafulla, Naveen, and Vivek for sharing such great insights during this discussion. Stay tuned for more insightful discussion happening in the Indian tech industry with nasscom Insights YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Till then, it's a goodbye from everyone here at nasscom Insights. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish, for having us. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Ashish.